Okay, we're going to continue on in our Father's Word. This is 2 Kings 25, verse 19. He also took out of the city an officer who had charge of the men of war, five men of the king's close associates who were found in the city, the chief recruiting officer of the army, who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land who were found in the city. So Nebuchadnezzar, captain of the guard, took these and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. Then the king of Babylon struck them and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. Thus Judah was carried away captive from its own land. Then he made Jeladiah, the son of Ahilkam, the son of Shaphan, governor over the people who remained in the land of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had left. Now when all the captains of the armies and their men heard that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah governor, they came to Gedaliah at Mizpah. Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, Johanan, the son of Kareah, Sariah, the son of Tanhumeth, the Nephalite, and Jezanaran, the son of Malchathalite, they and their men. And Jedediah took an oath before them and their men, and said to them, "Do not be afraid of the servants of the Chaldeans. Dwell in the land and serve the king of Babylon, and it shall be well with you." But it happened in the 7th month that Ishmael, son of Nethan, the son of Elishama of the royal family, came with 10 men and struck and killed Gedaliah, the Jews, as well as all the Chaldeans who were with him at Mizpah. And all the people, small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and went to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldeans. Now it came to pass in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 27th day of that month, that evil Merodach, king of Babylon, in the year that he began to reign, released Jehoiachin, king of Judah, from prison. And he spoke kindly to him and gave him a more prominent seat than those of the kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiachin changed from his prison garments, and he ate bread regularly before the king all the days of his life. As for his provisions, there was a regular ration given him by the king, a portion for each day, all the days of his life. Now, we're going to go to the first book of Chronicles. There's 2 books of Chronicles, and Bible scholars believe that Ezra the priest wrote the book of Chronicles. Now, Ezra and Nehemiah spent 70 years in Babylon in captivity, and then when the captivity was over, Cyrus the Great diverted the Euphrates River and went in and took Babylon. Cyrus the Great was from Persia. He was a great Persian king. And Darius the Great was the king of the Medes. The Persians were great, and the Medes were small, but they were together. And so Cyrus the Great, and then Darius the Great. Cyrus the Great lived about 10 years, and then Darius the Great took over Babylon, and they allowed Israel or Judah to take back as much as they could back to Jerusalem that Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple. A bunch of the gold and a bunch of the silver plates and different things that they stole out of the temple. Ezra the priest was able to take that back to Jerusalem because Cyrus the Great and Darius the Great allowed all this. So we're going to skip over here in Chronicles. The first 9 chapters of Chronicles is the bloodline of Adam, the bloodline of the sons of Israel, the bloodline of the Levites, and I'm going to start up in all the different tribes. So the bloodlines, I'm going to let you read that yourself if you're interested in the bloodlines of all these different groups of Israel. And I'm going to start in 1 Chronicles 10, and we're going to read about Saul first. Remember, 40 years King Saul, 40 years King David, and 40 years King Solomon. 40 means probation in biblical numerics. So we're going to start in 1 Chronicles chapter 10. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines, and fell slain on Mount Gilboa. Then the Philistines followed hard after Saul and his sons, and the Philistines killed Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchua, Saul's sons. The battle became fierce against Saul. The archers hit him, and he was wounded by the archers. Then Saul said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and thrust me through with it, lest these uncircumcised men come and abuse me." But his armor-bearer would not, for he was greatly afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell on it. And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell on his sword and died. So Saul and his 3 sons died, and all his house died together. Now remember, King David, Saul had one crippled son that King David took care of. And when all the men of Israel who were in the valley saw that they had fled and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook their cities and fled. Then the Philistines came and dwelt in their cities. So it happened the next day, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, they found Saul and his sons fallen on Mount Gilboa. And they stripped him and took his head and his armor, and sent word throughout all the land of the Philistines to proclaim the news in the temple of their idols and among the people. Then they put his armor in the temple of their gods, and fastened his head in the temple of Dagon, the fish god, half man, half fish. The Ninevites worshipped Dagon. They took God's little children, threw them into Dagon's altar fire, and they had sex orgies in the groves. And when all Jabesh Gilead heard that the Philistines had done to Saul, all the valiant men arose and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons, and they brought them to Jabesh, and they buried their bones under the tamarisk tree at Jabesh, and fasted 7 days. For Saul died for his unfaithfulness, which he had committed against the Lord, because he did not keep the word of the Lord, and also because he consulted a medium for guidance, the witch of Endor. But he did not inquire of the Lord. Therefore he killed him, and turned the kingdom over to David, the son of Jesse. Now this is 1 Chronicles 11. Then all Israel came together to David at Hebron, saying,